This man made the discovery of a lifetime. For him, it started as a simple fishing trip, a quiet afternoon where he would catch food for his family. But things took a strange turn when he spotted a giant shape moving in the mud across the river. When he got close, he saw that the shape was moving, even making sounds. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming stories. Liam's boots sank into the soft mud as he made his way down the river path. He and his family had lived near the swampy rivers of Congaree National Park in South Carolina for generations and survived on the fishing profits Liam made. It was a dangerous place where fishing was not for the faint of heart. Crocodiles and other hostile animals lived inside these waters. To minimize these dangers and ensure steady results during fishing trips, Liam made it his mission to learn everything he could about the 42-square-mile area. During his career, Liam traversed every nook of the river, passed every mangrove-style tree, and caught every kind of fish. Nothing could catch him off guard, at least, so he thought. Because this morning, something huge awaited him down at the riverbank. Liam started his fishing trip near the northern edge of the swamp. It was a quiet spot where not much competition knew to look. He had gotten great results there in the past. With little trees to obscure his vision, not many crocodiles could sneak up on him here. So, with confidence, Liam tossed out his rod and watched the lure move in the water. He watched it, letting his mind wander. Fishing wasn't always about catching, it was about peace as well. But unfortunately, that peace was short-lived, because just as Liam leaned back to enjoy the view, something across the river caught his eye. Liam saw a shape, half buried in the mud, shift slightly about 50 feet from where he stood. At first, Liam observed the movement from a distance. "What on earth is that?" he said as he squinted his eyes, trying to make sense of the bizarre scene in front of him. The movements were slow, heavy, and most of all, covered in a thick layer of brown, slimy mud. Whatever it was big and definitely very much alive. Liam carefully reeled in his line, eyes still locked on the other side of the water. The shape only moved in place, not engaging him in any way. But still, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that it was aware of him. It was almost as if it was watching and waiting for him to make a move. Normally, Liam wouldn't respond to this. Unknowns in the swamps were dangerous and should be avoided. But something about this mysterious thing pulled at him. Liam packed his gear quickly, his thoughts tangled with questions. What could be under all that mud? Something inside of him needed to find an answer to this question. The 42-year-old fisherman placed his lunchbox and fishing gear on a small patch of grass and readied himself to cross the body of water. Only about 50 feet of river distance separated him from his objective, and due to Liam's extensive experience, he knew the water was shallow enough here to walk through. Liam waded through the river, feeling shapes glide past his legs. He kept his breath steady and pushed forward until he reached the muddy bank. There, partially buried, was a massive blob shifting faintly beneath layers of dirt and grime. From this close, the thing was far larger than it had appeared. The mud-caked surface made it look like a log or wreckage, but Liam's trained eyes caught the smooth, curved lines that hinted at something alive. It was too fluid, too precise to be anything man-made. Liam held his breath, listening. For a moment, there was only birdsong and the gentle lap of the river behind him. Then, there it was again, a soft sloshing or shifting sound coming from just beneath the mud. Liam then finally reached out, hesitant but unable to resist. His fingers sank into the cool mud as he began to scrape away a layer from the side. The texture beneath felt oddly firm, not like stone or wood. It felt more like something synthetic, maybe metal, which was an odd observation, but Liam couldn't argue with the tactile feel he received from this unknown thing. Liam cleared a few spots on the surface, and harsh sunlight reflected off it, bright and polished like metal. The glare nearly blinded him. Confused, he began scooping away thick layers of mud with growing urgency. He stood quickly, wiping his hands on his pants, eyes wide. The structure shifted like something alive. The quiet around him now felt unnatural, heavy with tension. Leaning over again, Liam dug faster. The smooth, unyielding surface beneath his fingers made him question his creature theory. Could this be some kind of vehicle? A capsule? It seemed absurd, but the texture was unmistakably metallic. With each handful of mud, more precise curves emerged. One long groove looked eerily similar to a panel line on old machinery. The object felt engineered, too deliberate to be natural. Then, moving to another side, he cleared a thick patch of grime. Beneath it was something not smooth or metallic. It looked like skin. More than that, it looked like an eyelid. His heartbeat picked up. He dipped his hands into the river and scooped up water, gently pouring it over the eyelid to wash away the last grime. Liam froze. A single, massive eye stared up at him. A low, humming sound vibrated from deep within the shape. It reminded Liam of a whale's call or a distant underwater horn. His breath hitched. What was this creature, and why did it let Liam touch him without ever responding with any kind of resistance? The layer of mud was thick, but not that restricting. Liam didn't move for a few seconds, stunned by the calm, patient stare of the creature. He glanced down at the rest of the muddy body. The humming it made sounded so sad. It needed Liam's help. He was now sure of it. Liam braced himself and pressed one arm deep under the creature's side, feeling around for leverage. He crouched, locked his feet into the mud as best he could, and pulled with everything he had. The weight of this thing was incredible. It didn't budge, no matter how much force Liam put behind his pull. His arms trembled, and his back screamed in agony. But he didn't stop. Just as he shifted his weight for one more pull, a low rumble behind him snapped his focus. Liam heard the sound of tires on dirt and car doors slamming. Liam looked up as dark vehicles pulled onto the riverbank. Men in tactical gear emerged, moving with precision. Badges flashed. FBI. The agents spread out, securing the area with silent authority. Weapons stayed holstered, but tension hung in the air. Liam stood, unwilling to leave, his body tense with defiance. But the agents closed in, their posture leaving no room for argument. Two stepped into the mud beside him, forcing him back with quiet pressure. He hesitated, still staring at the object, unwilling to let go. Then, without warning, one agent shoved him hard. Liam fell backward, crashing into the river, mud and cold water soaking through his clothes. Stunned, he sat in the shallows as the agents moved past him. The perimeter was already being sealed. He had been pushed out, erased from the moment. Liam pulled himself up, chest tight, and began trudging across the river again. As he reached the other side, he turned and looked back. The agents were moving around the creature quickly, now setting up equipment and snapping photos. The eye was still open, watching everything, watching him, too. He reached the patch of grass where he had left his lunchbox and gear. It all felt so distant now. The peaceful morning had turned into something surreal. The FBI men were still working, placing cones and dragging tarp. "What are you? And what do they want with you?" Liam got into his truck and started the engine. As he pulled away, he looked in the rearview mirror one more time. The riverbank disappeared behind a curtain of trees. But his thoughts kept lingering back to his discovery. He couldn't just walk away and forget this ever happened. Liam needed to know the truth. These men said they were FBI, but Liam had serious doubts about that. Back home, Liam went over the events of the day. Nothing about it sat right with him, and he knew he couldn't just step away and leave the creature there in the hands of those people. He had a bad feeling about them, like he needed to stop whatever they were doing. So with that in mind, Liam chose to return to the site after nightfall. The sun had long dipped below the tree line when Liam returned to the edge of the river. Using a narrow deer trail only seasoned locals would know, the air buzzed with frogs and crickets. Liam's fishing knowledge hadn't prepared him for espionage, but his instincts felt sharper than ever. He crouched low behind thick roots and heavy brush, inching his way forward. Years of navigating this swamp had taught him which branches creaked and which ones stayed silent under pressure. The lights from the riverbank shimmered between trees. He didn't go near the open path the agents had used before. Instead, he circled around from the southeast, completely unseen. When Liam finally reached a vantage point, he froze. The same yellow tape marked the site, stretched between tree trunks like a badly built L fence. But something was different. The people guarding the area wore dark clothing, no reflective badges, no jackets with FBI stitched on the back. They didn't look like lawmen, they looked like people who didn't want to be seen. Liam settled in behind a fallen tree, just far enough away to remain hidden. He watched for almost an hour, studying the guards. Their patrol paths were clumsy and repetitive. A group circled left, while two others looped to the right. And every few minutes there was a moment when no guard would walk past the south side of the riverbank. Those people had built a pop-up tent right over the spot where the creature was this afternoon. The tent had a doorway in the front with plastic sheet flaps preventing onlookers from peering inside. If Liam could just slip in unnoticed, no one would know he was there. He sprinted from the tree line across the muddy stretch and ducked into the tent without a sound. Inside, the air was warm and stale. He scanned quickly and froze. The creature was gone. No shape under tarp, no outline in the mud. They had moved it. But where? His eyes darted around. On a plastic table at the far end sat scattered research tools, scalpels, gloves, a strange scanner, and one item that stood out, a large beige dossier, its corners curled slightly from humidity. Liam reached for it, hands trembling. Boot steps crunched outside. Liam stiffened, holding his breath. He knew from observation how many seconds he had before the patrol circled back. He grabbed the dossier and backed away from the table. No time to read, no time to think, just move. Liam pressed his body against the tent wall, waiting for the exact right moment. When the crunching of boots moved past the tent again, Liam moved like lightning. He slipped out the back, darting low and fast into the dark. Trees swallowed him whole within seconds. His legs burned and lungs ached. Liam crouched beneath thick palmetto leaves, soaked in sweat and mud, the weight of the dossier in his hands grounding him in the surreal chaos he had just witnessed. Once certain he hadn't been followed, he opened the folder. Instead of an FBI seal, it bore the logo of Lundra Valuable Goods, Inc., a company infamous for trading raw materials and repeated environmental violations. Inside, the truth unfolded. The creature was a rare giant squid, its ink worth millions. It had escaped during transport from the Gulf of Mexico and burrowed into the riverbank to hide. Liam realized the squid had trusted him, allowing him to dig away the mud without fleeing. He knew he had to act. Lundra had left the file behind, never expecting someone to return. Liam took the dossier to the police. With the company already under suspicion, authorities acted swiftly. A coordinated raid brought down the operation, catching Lundra off guard. Board members were led out in cuffs. Inside the factory, the squid was found weak, drained for its ink. But experts on site worked to stabilize and save it. Weeks later, the animal was returned to the sea. Liam stood on the shore, watching it disappear into the deep, a moment he knew he'd never forget. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the notifications bell so you never miss amazing tales like this one.